Well, hey everyone. I am super excited to have Rachel Cosgrove today as a guest. She is a successful business owner, author, presenter, and a mentor to a number of fitness businesses through her Results Fitness University that she co-owns with her husband, Alan Cosgrove, out of California. And so, Rachel, welcome to the show. We are stoked to have you here.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, Tom, it's why don't I have you lead with the questions initially, as I try to get myself warmed up about what I'm going to pose, Rachel.
So, Rachel, I'm hanging out at Sumit's sidekick today. I'm the loaded.
He's a fun guy to be his sidekick. I have to say.
Yeah, I could.
It's a good guy.
So. What we're trying to do with these, and Sumit asked me to kind of jump in and assist, is try to get people in a different light because they never get to tell their story. So a couple of easy first questions just to get you kind of going. So first client, the worst, nastiest, meanest, worst client ever in the history of your training life. So first and worst and nastiest, the meanest. We want to hear a story here.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Wow. We're diving right in. First client her name was Mary Sue Price. It was in New York City, and I was brand new to personal training and got a gym at Manhattan Plaza Athletic Club. Got a job there. And so I was, doing the consults and, figuring out how to do this whole personal training thing. Had my one certification and my degree in physiology and thought I knew it all. This was before I met Thomas Plummer and met Mary Sue Price. And she was, she actually was a writer for the shows. She did Broadway shows. So she wrote Broadway shows. Very interesting lady. And she had never worked out, but she did ride horses. And so I took her around the circuit of machines. I told her which number to set the seat on. And, I did the best job that I could do at the time. I've come a long way since then. But, I still remember working with her and, and getting her back into horseback riding. So she actually had, lost her way and hadn't done horseback riding for years. And, really, I felt like, it was a success as a coach to see her get back into doing what she loved as an athlete. And so that's, kind of started my journey as a coach, really finding the athlete within every person I work with.
Okay. So the worst one, sitting on the curb, drinking out of a paper bag with wine going, I hate this career. No, I'm out of here. Give me that one.
Oh my goodness. That's a hard question.
No, I want the one that pissed you off, the one you went home and kicked the dog and spit on Alan and had three glasses of wine before you could even talk. Come on, yeah, that's not a bad client. That's just you're. Come on, give us the worst client. You've been doing this your whole life.
I know. You should have given me some time to prep. I got to think about this.
No, it's too easy, man. Come on.
I've kicked a few clients out of Results Fitness. That's for sure. So I guess those would be the ones you're talking about.
Well, what's it take to piss Rachel Cosgrove off enough to throw your ass out of the gym?
If you are a jerk to my team, honestly. So if you are being a jerk to my team, if you think that you can get away with, being rude and really ruining, how I always start this conversation is we work really hard to create a positive atmosphere at Results Fitness. And you obviously are unhappy here. So at this point, I would love to go ahead and cancel your membership and give you a recommendation for another gym in town. And then they usually go, I really love this place, and I usually give them another try. And then usually, depending on if it works or not, I'll end up kicking them out. But I have kicked people out. I have had there's probably 4 or 5 people that I've actually said, this isn't the right gym for you. And usually it's a case of they've thrown a hissy fit. They've, been rude. They think they can walk in and, act like they own. They think that our trainers are there to, to bend over backwards for them, but they are. We're there to serve our clients, but they don't realize that, I'm going to hear about it and I'm going to have my team's back and I'm going to come talk to you. So I know you want like a specific example.
No, that's kind of, we'll move on.
I would say don't be afraid to get rid of those people because they're the people that are going to ruin, you've worked so hard to build a business, build a clientele, and then you have one person who ruins your day. And they're the person, like you said, that you go home and you talk to your husband about. And then, over time, that's the person that you end up dwelling on. And pretty quickly, you should cut that person out of your life and cut them out of your gym, because it's, you have all of these fantastic clients who love what you do and who are excited about what you do, who don't complain, who are, really happy with everything. And they're the people who we need to focus on.
Okay, that's a softball answer, but so Suma and I were talking before you got on. So we have a question. This is something we were stuff. So, okay, brokest you've ever been in your life, the day that you thought, I'm done. I'm going to go be a waitress. I'm going to 10 bar. I am the brokest, the worst day of your life financially, where you didn't think there was any way out. Because you guys are survivors. Everybody goes, the Cosgroves, they've been, they started a little gym. They started, and the survivor story is a beautiful thing. And as we age, those stories always tend to get better anyway. But it wasn't that way. I know you guys from those days. I know stuff. So the worst, and throw it out, be honest here. The worst day when you were thinking about quitting, when it was doom and gloom, because I know you went through those days, and people need to hear that, because you guys are not always, you guys struggled more than people ever realized. That never comes out. So tell us about the dark days.
When we first opened, we had no money. Neither of us had money. And we opened our gym on credit card debt. So we ended up in a lot of credit card debt. I already had credit card debt from living in New York City. Didn't manage my money well, didn't know how to, didn't really understand money at the time. So when we opened our gym, I had already racked up, I had all this credit card debt. I had gone to a debt consolidation company to help me get out of this, suffocating debt that I was in. And it was, purely just, it wasn't debt that had helped me to invest in myself. It was debt that was, paying the bills or trying to survive. And so as we opened, that continued, because we were building our business and we didn't know how to run a business. And so we had to, figured out lots of fights about money, early in our business. There was many times that, I was in charge of the money, and it was like, you take the money out, you're in charge of it. I'm done, and it's, it's hard, especially when, when we first opened, we would never have anything left over at the end of the month to pay ourselves. We had a Dodge Shadow that my parents had bought for us as our engagement gift that my dad got at a auction for like $1,000. And, we shared this Dodge Shadow that we drove to work, and thought we were living the life, owned our own gym with our Dodge Shadow in our little apartment. And, and over time, that was, realizing, like, working our asses off, right? Like 5 a.m. in the morning or 4 a.m. in the morning till 9 p.m. at night, taking every client we could take. And, during that time, we were doing session packages. So clients would pay us for 10 sessions at a time. So a big check, you'd put that money in the bank and it'd be gone. It's like, wait, where'd the money go? And you haven't even done the sessions yet, right? So you're like, I have to work the next 3 months, like, for that money that's gone. And there was one client who his sessions were due and he kept forgetting his check, and so this is before EFT days. And, I forgot to bring it. I'll bring it next week. I forgot to bring it. I'll bring it next week. And our rent I had to pay the rent check, and the rent was going to go through, and there was no money in the bank. I was waiting for his big check for 10 sessions so we could cover the rent. And he comes in finally with the check, and I'm waiting, like, at the door. He's Alan's client. And I'm like, you have got to get this check from your client today. Like, you cannot train him. And so he's like, hey, did you bring your check, Jeff? And Jeff's like, oh, I did. But you know what? Can you sit on that as long as you can? Like, I'm heading out the door. Like, this is as long as I can sit on this. And so, of course, headed out the door, deposited it, it bounced, our check bounced. And it was just like, 1, 2, 3. So that's just one moment. Another moment was remembering our very first employee who we hired, a trainer. And here we are, he and I have no money. We're not paying ourselves yet. We're just trying to get the gym going. And we hire her as an independent trainer, not knowing any better at the time. And started giving her clients because our schedules were full. And over time, she drives up in her brand new Ford. It was like a Ford Escapade. It was like this really cool car, really nice car. Drives up, pulls right up front of our gym. We're still sharing our Dodge Shadow in the back. It's like, falling apart. And she's like, look at my new car and check out the sound system, and like our clients are going out to see her car and like checking everything out. That moment right then, like Alan and I looked at each other and we were like, we are not doing something right. Like there is like something is really wrong right now and we have to fix this. And so those were, some of the turning point moments for us for sure.
That's something go ahead, Sumit.
No, you go ahead. I didn't mean to. I was just fascinated by that story, Rachel. Like, so I guess the question becomes, you talked about turning points. What made you and Alan realize that we will arrive? Like now we see it. What were those moments or stories like where you were like, yeah, we're going to be successful. We're going to conquer this now because we've got this happening, because now you know it. So what were those moments, stories like?
It was continuing education, professional development. Like I started studying Jim Rohn a lot. So Jim Rohn, I'd listen to him in my car, and Tony Robbins, and, all of these, I'd fill my head with, stuff that would put me in the right frame of mind to really start to look toward the future and realize, and learn. I learned about goal setting from Jim Rohn, and I wrote down my first goals, like have 2 trainers working for us, and, I wanted to get down to where I still have the goals on paper, written, and I've kept them all. But it's like, like I had goals, like I wanted to get down to where I was only coaching clients 3 days a week. And I was making $100,000 a year. I was making $100,000 a year myself. Like I had that very clear, like, I don't know what Alan's making, but I'm going to be making $100,000 a year, So I started to learn about goal setting. I started to learn that I was really in charge of my own destiny, and I had, I could decide what was going to happen. And so when he and I got really clear on our goals and really figuring out, okay, how, like, if we hire a coach and we, get them in place, like what kind of money, like how much do we pay them? And we have to start figuring this out as a business, rather than just, oh my gosh, we're too busy and let's hire the next trainer and fill them up with clients and, just trying to run in the hamster wheel. And it was a game-changing day meeting Thomas Plummer, like going to his business seminar. It was, for us, we knew nothing about business. And I went by myself because we couldn't afford for both of us to go. And Alan had to keep running the gym. And I went, and Tom tells the story, sat in the front row with my arms crossed because he hated trainers at the time. and I was like, you haven't met us yet. And so I got all kinds of ideas of, learning about EFT and learning about, like all of these ideas, like, oh, okay, this is how we could do this. And I came back and, so like you have to invest in yourself in order to get those ideas, in order to reprogram your mind. And so every time that I'd read a book or I'd go to a seminar, I'd hire Thomas Plummer, work with people that I could learn from, I'd implement those ideas. And, like that night I came back from that seminar, I was up on, like, Alan was like, what has gotten into you? And I'm like, I'm creating our employee manuals and I'm going to get our contracts together and I'm going to, put our marketing in place, and I had all these ideas, and the key is implementing. But I guess, for me, it was really, you can find anything, you can learn anything. And I think Alan and I both have that mindset of, even though we were really good trainers and we pretty quickly realized we didn't know how to run a business, we knew we could learn how to run a business. And we knew that if we found the right people to learn from, we could be successful. And for us, it wasn't about, where we are now is not what we had in our vision. It was, we wanted to get 2 trainers that were making us some money and us coaching, a couple less days a week. Right. So, a lot of people think like, oh, how did you know we were going to be where? You're like, no, it's just baby steps, and then you get to that point and then you're like, oh, let's do a little bit more. Let's do a little bit more. So over time, we've grown as people and, continue to invest in ourselves and continue to learn. And that's what's led us to where we are
now. That story could go on. I'd either like to hear more of that story. That's great. That's just, those are days you should be really proud of. A lot of people would not have survived those early days. So I got a weird question for you, completely taking you away from that.
Okay.
So Lance Armstrong, when he was doing, the long rides and the tour, they go, how do you just stay focused? He goes, I don't stay focused. I get out of my head and I get this fantasy going in my head and this dream life. And then I just get so involved in it, the miles just pass. And that's why my team is around. They guide me because I'm so lost in my own story. So there you are on social media running a marathon, running the triathlon. I'm watching you, the pictures and stuff. And I'm thinking, so what the hell does she think about? So what's your fantasy dream in that last run where you're out there for, just grinding out mile after mile? And just what gets in your head? So you're running away with some handsome trainer dude, you got your private jet, There's got to be something in your head, because nobody can do what you do without getting that story. According to Lance, he says nobody can do it the best. They get it in their heads. So what's your fantasy story when you're out there running?
Yeah, honestly, so I realized doing an Ironman so I did an Ironman, which is a 2.4-mile swim, a 112-mile bike ride, and then a marathon. And wow. I had done one Ironman before in my lifetime, and that was right after Alan had cancer. So right after he went into remission, I signed up for an Ironman, and spent that next year training for an Ironman. And so I've realized, because then as this pandemic was going down, a girlfriend of mine who I'd trained with back 14 years ago to do that Ironman was like, hey, do you want to sign up for an Ironman? And I was like, yeah, actually, that's exactly what I need right now. I'm either going to drink too much, or I'm about to fully immerse myself in something. So it best be training rather than, being a destructive habit. Right. So I was like, yeah, let me set down this glass of wine and let's start training. And so for me, I've realized it's one of my ways of coping with, of getting through uncertainty, of getting through, turbulence, of, really, and it's for me, when I'm out on my bike or it's spiritual, like you said. Like I am definitely, like, it's my time alone. It's my time to, like, I'm not looking at my phone. I have a hard time meditating. Like I've never been able to meditate. That's never been something I can like stop and meditate. I know I probably need to learn that. But for me, when I go out for a long run or a long bike ride, that's my meditation. So as far as like, visualizing, a lot of my problem solving I do on my bike or on my, runs. My runs I actually started doing, I would listen to books. I read entire books. I'd go run 13 miles and read an entire book on Audible. And so I read all kinds of books while I was running. And my bike ride is kind of more my thinking time, like climbing hills and just praying and thinking and trying to, really like, what is the answer? Like, what do we do? Should we just shut the gym down? Should we keep going? How do we get through this? Like, all kinds of problems that kept coming up, especially over this past year of, here's another problem. What's the solution? Here's another problem. What's the solution? And so, not giving up and really, using that time to, I just got to go out on my bike and think for a couple hours or 8 hours, and that's really, while I was training for the Ironman, it was my time to process and think and figure out. And I'd come back from bike rides like, okay, I got it. I got what we're going to do. This is what direction we're going to go. So that's, I wouldn't say it was a fantasy about running off with, I know that's what you were thinking, Tom, but it was really problem solving. Yeah. And, the actual race itself was a reflection of the year and just everything I had been through, like as I was running and then, I don't want to start crying, but, just thinking through the year of like, holy shit. Like, and for me, I lost my dad this year too. So it was like COVID's like, yeah, that was hard, but like losing my dad is like really hard. So it's, looking at that past year and like what you've been through and then realizing you've accomplished it. And then crossing that finish line is like one of the best feelings ever. And so, it's something I know I'll end up doing again. It's definitely a big commitment to train for an Ironman, but for me, it kept me sane. It gave me that excuse to go out and do an 8-hour workout, which who does an 8-hour workout, but I needed it. And it really is what kept me strong. And really, I think for me, tells me like I'm okay. And it keeps me going. So that's more what it does for me, and what my like thought process is.
I like it. You got to get out of your head when you do that. So,
yep.
Sumit, I'm stepping all over your stuff. You got any questions in there?
No, I do. I have a ton of questions. This is really like we could probably block 4 hours from there. So, Rachel, like you mentioned, last year has been horrendous in so many ways. COVID, personal losses. What did you keep on telling yourself? Like, what, as you were going through those challenges, what kept you going and saying, I'll get past this and I'll come out stronger? Was there a go-to mantra? Was there a go-to book? What was happening in your head, and how did you overcome those obstacles?
I think as we've been through challenges and obstacles before in our business and in our life. I mean, a year into opening our business was 9/11. So that, 1 year and remembering that day when Alan and I like turned on the news and, what do we do? Do we open the gym? Do we how do we handle this? And realize, and then, recession, of course. And then Alan was diagnosed with cancer 4 years into our business and going through a stem cell transplant. And thinking back, because I did a lot of that, reflecting back, like, how did we get through all of that? Because that was not easy, and so I just kept showing up, right? You just keep showing up. And so that's my mantra is just show up, like wake up every morning and show up. People need you. And you got to figure out how you're going to show up today for those people that need your help. And so throughout that time, whether it was 9/11, we showed up for our clients. We became the place where our clients came to escape, the news and to, do something good for themselves and to level themselves out. And so that's where we became that place for them. And even so over COVID, on 9/11 last year, I went live in our private Facebook group, and I was like, hey guys, remember back 9/11, we were the place where everybody, this is your, we're here for you. And I know that the world is crazy right now, but this is your place. And this is where you come to center yourself and to be able to handle everything else that's going on in your life. And so for me, it's always about showing up. And that's what I told our other business owners too, as we were all navigating this together, because we had our last in-person mastermind the weekend before we shut down. And so all of our business owners were together. We were all, it was like, we were all going, things are getting weird. Like they're getting even weirder and they're getting even weirder. And by the time they were all getting on planes to leave, everyone's gyms were getting shut down. And we literally, like that next week, we all pulled together. Okay, what are we going to do? And we were on the phone every single day together. Like, here's what we're going to do. Here's the game plan, and getting things in place. And I just kept telling them, just keep showing up for your clients. Just keep showing up for your clients. And so I guess that would be my mantra. The other thing that keeps me going is knowing back when we went through all of that, you come out stronger. Like, I kind of thrive in these times, which is weird. And I know that but I do kind of like when this all went down, I was like, yeah, let's go, because I'm like, this is like, I know I'm going to get stronger through this. I know I'm going to learn stuff through this. I know our business is going to get stronger through this. I didn't know it would quite go this long, but, and I hope it's going to end soon. And I hope someday this is over, but it was like, okay, bring it. Like, let's figure this out. Let's figure out how we're going to navigate this. Because looking back, when we got through our biggest years, were right after Alan had been through cancer. He and I were in survival mode. We were like, okay, like let's, the business is still going. Our gym's running without us. Let's build a second business. Now we have people that want to learn how to run our business. Let's build an empire, right? And that's when we built our second company. Like we had two businesses, both grossing $1 million each when we had no money in the bank when we started, and it all happened, it was like that survival mode kicked in and then you get stuff done. And so part of this whole year is I'm like, hey, one more shot to like in my life, right? Who knows, like if you get that opportunity again to really push yourself and really learn and like be tested to the point of, yeah, days I want to quit. Absolutely. I had days I was crying, days I was like, I can't do this. I still have those days, but then I like pick myself up, show up and keep moving forward. And as I get through it, you look at how far over this last year our business has come, how far I've grown personally, how like all the things that you've learned through this. So I really think of it as an opportunity as well.
Wow.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. I'd love that story. That's it. Yeah. You got to write that one down. That's pretty, there could be a book in here somewhere. So you triggered something there when you said that how does it end? How does your story end? What's the exit strategy? Not that you're a woman of a certain age yet, but let's just say that you've got 20 some years of doing this. Somewhere in there, you two must be sitting around going, okay, what you said there to me was very powerful, because one of my other questions is why you? Why have you been able to do this and so many other people fail? There's so many people that do struggle. So why you? But you just answered that because you're the way you think of getting back up. But also that type of person usually knows, okay, I have to plan my own end. I have to plan my own exit. Yeah, there is no random in Rachel world. There is rules, goals, details. So how does the story end? When does this, what's next for you? There's got to be life after fitness.
Yeah,
there's got to be.
And you always are good at asking this question, Tom. And you've asked this of us since we opened our business. And it was originally why we survived going through cancer because we had our business set up with an exit strategy in mind of, we wanted it to run without us. And it did. And, we kind of pictured that we'd be like on vacation or doing something fun. And we did after we got through cancer. I did my Ironman, and then we went and traveled, and we went to the London Olympics, and we, went and traveled, did Italy, and did all our trips we wanted to do. And, we were doing, fun stuff. And then, we both wanted to get back into the gym, and we just, so it's a question I've been asking myself, because Alan and I are definitely like, we go like, now would obviously be the time to sell the gym, close the gym, like be done with the gym, move someplace else. Like, why aren't we just like walking away and like leaving this thing? Because it's like, it's been our baby. It's like our baby for the last 21 years. We've had our gym for 21 years, and we know the potential of it. And so right now it's like California's still, we're back to now, they're going back to like closing stuff down and, masks again. And so it's been just when you feel like you're starting to claw your way out, they're like, okay, because we had a lot of clients come back when they lifted the mask mandate, for vaccinated people. And so they just reinstated that. So of course now it's kind of like, we were getting momentum going, and then it's like, everybody's like, I don't want to go work out, so it's definitely, the climate here is, back, like you said, Sumit, are we ever going to get through this? Is kind of the climate here. So, you're kind of going, do we keep holding to this? And like you said, Tom, I wish I could give you a straight answer, but like, I love what I do. I love being in the gym. I love working with our clients. I can't picture myself not doing that. And it's probably a coaching call that we need to have on another call, but I love coaching our clients. I love seeing our business grow. I love having a team of people working for me and seeing them grow and them thrive, and all of us solving problems together and figuring out how to navigate this thing. I mean, we still have our employees through this entire thing, and they've been with us, we've lost a couple here and there, like Elias, headed off to the East Coast. But he's still on our team as far as being a part of Results University. And so we have Donna, who's been with us since we opened. She's still on our team, so like, I have employees that have been with us since the beginning. And so it's like, for me, it's like, as far as an exit strategy goes, for sure, set it up as if you're going to sell it, or as if you're going to walk away from it. And then that time comes and I'm like, I can't do it. So, it's a good question. I picture the lady the Maria's Deli is an Italian deli that's next door to us. And she's 90 years old, and she's in there, every day, Maria, and she has all of her people that come visit her. And I'm like, I swear it keeps her young. And I'm like, because I can't ever be like retired doing nothing. So I'm like, I gotta keep the gym just so like when I'm 90, I have a place to go and hang out with cool people. and do my workouts, right? So I don't know, maybe that's my plan.
That's a good plan. So there is no plan in there, but it's the plan to have a plan. That's your plan.
Yeah.
I like it.
I picked up Rachel saying that after every down, she's been able to open a new business, right? So maybe there's the third business in line now. Why not go for a franchise this thing and have your own franchise, Rachel? Because you're dominating the space. You understand this business. You've grown it from scratch, literally, like you said. Is that something that you thought about?
Oh yeah, we've had a lot of people ask us, why not a franchise? And we've even had people go through our mentorship and mastermind program and then end up creating franchises. And lifestyle design is always what we go back to. Having the perspective of being through cancer and being through, some of the hard times we've been through, it's all about lifestyle. And for us, we especially times like this, like you look at, okay, what do we want? Like, what do we want our life to be like? We need to make a certain amount of money to be able to pay for the life that we want, and, we live in a nice house, and we love to travel, and we love to, do the things we want to do. So for us, it goes back to lifestyle design. I think working just to work or creating more responsibility or more liability, which comes with building a franchise. Obviously, the risk is higher, so the reward is higher. You make more money. So it's a question of, would we want to take on that risk in order to have that reward? Is that something that for our lifestyle, we want? And we've just chosen instead to take the path of helping as many business owners as we can, which, through our coaching program, we have, coaching members all over the world who we get to work with. We get to help them in their business, but we don't have the responsibility or liability of them having our name on their building and us having to really, make sure they're doing everything. We say we're responsible to you, but we're not responsible for you. And so that's, for us, the model that works for our lifestyle, because we get to help as many people as we can. Our mission is to change the way fitness is done, which I know I've told you before. And that's always been our mission from day one when we opened our gym. We wanted to create a place that set a different standard. And we were frustrated with, the way things were being done in gyms we worked in. We weren't seen as professionals. And we wanted to create a place not only for our clients, but for our team members that they could have a career. And so, our team all have retirement benefits, they have health insurance, they have a career. This is what they do. And now that's more common in our industry. But when we first opened our gym, that wasn't common. It was, being a trainer was what you do on the side. And so for us, our vision of what we want to, the impact we want to make is really changing the way fitness is done, which, we're doing in our own gym, but then on a, broader scale, all of the gym owners that we work with, helping them to also change that perception. And gosh, this last year has been an eye-opener for how much work we have to do too, because, they shut us down with bars. It was like bars and gyms, like,
okay.
Really? Like, we're here to help. Like, we're here to be on the front line. We're here to actually get people fitter, healthier, build their immune system, and be the piece of this, this equation that's missing that they could, use. And instead they shut us down with bars, first one to be shut down. And then we were the last one to get open. We were reopened with bars. So like, okay, this makes no sense, but it told me like, you know what, like we still got a lot of work to do in this industry as far as being seen as the professionals that we are and seen as how important what we do is.
That's actually one of my questions. Let me throw that. So when you started in the 90s, women were down the hall teaching aerobics in little sexy outfits. If there was a female trainer in the gym, she was probably the female trainer in the gym, and no status. So 3 years ago, in a workshop, because somebody brought this up in a call the other day, and we were talking about female trainers. This was one of my clients. She owns a gym. It's been a long run, and we were laughing because at that time they said, well, who's the female trainers? Who do you emulate? Who should we look toward? And I said, Rachel, Sue Falsone, Janet Alexander are, to me, probably the three best women trainers in the world. And I looked back at that and realized that was wrong, because you weren't just the best women trainers in the world. You were three of the best trainers in the world. But even all the years I've been doing this, I made that mistake by separating into, it implies that you're the best women trainers, but maybe not the best trainers. And I'm looking back at that going, wow, how the world has changed, because that is so ridiculously long these days. So you've been there since the aerobics days, since the little
I wore my thong leotard with, did my step aerobics.
all the way to, so we've gotten to the point where it's, and I do a lot of work in the UK and over there. I know Alan's going back over in October, if virus permitting.
All good, yeah.
The first time I was over there, first time 5 years ago, there were 3 females in the whole room. I had 150 people in the room, and there were 3 females. The female trainer has almost like just now arrived. So what's the issues with this? Where is this going? How is this going to change? And how do you see that finally being just buried and laid to rest? How do we get past that? That's, I think, as an industry, it's sad that it's still male dominated. Even Perform Betters, as much as Chris tries to bring in female speakers, I think his best year ever, out of 60 some speakers on the tour that year, he's maybe had 6 or 7. They don't even apply. They're not even there. What the hell's going on with that? How do we change that?
I definitely think it's a confidence thing for women. There's a lot of women in the industry that have a lot to share, but they're not, they don't put themselves out there. And so I think that's part of it is, just creating, that opportunity for more women to step up and shine and start to share, their knowledge of what they have.
Who are they? Who are the underrated trainers? Who do you see out there that is hidden in the shadows?
Thinking about it, because we actually have had majority women trainers at our gym for probably the past 5 years. Our men have been outnumbered at Results Fitness. But, like, and I am thinking about it, women do tend to move on. And, whether they don't continue on their career or continue to the point of, stepping up to, whether speaking at Perform Better is, that's one place you can go, right? Or writing a book. But there are quite a few women I do feel like that have started, like Molly Galbraith, has stepped up quite a bit and started sharing what she does. And, more and more women are starting to, I think, put themselves in the spotlight where they're not comfortable. And I think, that's where it's, the more women, when I was at a Perform Better, like you said, a lot of times I'm one of the only female speakers there. And I had a woman come up to me and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I love you. You're so amazing. And so cool that, they need to get more women speakers here." And I go, "Oh, well, were you at my talk?" And she goes, "No, I went to Stu McGill." And I go, I'm like, "Well, I go, you know what? If you want more women to speak, you got to start showing up in their rooms. When I look at the Perform Better schedule, I pick out all the women and I go in their rooms, because guess what? Like, Chris isn't going to be able to bring people back who don't have full rooms, right? So like, if you aren't telling him and telling them that you want these people, you have to support them. And so I think people don't realize that, like, they're like, they do get a shot, but then are you looking to support those women, and are you looking to learn from those women? And if you want women to be, a bigger part of this industry, then all of us as, a whole have to start to look for opportunities to grab those women and pull them up, but also, show up when they do get their time in the spotlight.
So who? I mean, who's the next generation, Rachel? Give me some. Who's up and coming?
Honestly,
who's sitting out there?
I'm so immersed in our gym. So I just think of the trainers that work for me because they're amazing and they're awesome. So I don't even know, like, I couldn't even tell you on a global level, but, and even our gym owners who are, part of our coaching group, but none of them have put themselves, in the limelight. I would say they all would do a great job of, if that's what they wanted to do. But I'm not even sure if that's the path, if being on Perform Better is something that they, would want to do. So
I think that's a good example of one thing that they can chase. But I see the women coming up like Allie Gilbert's somebody that's
Allie Gilbert's great.
Yeah, she's getting up, finally finding her spot in the sun, so to speak. And but that generation with you and Falzone and Janet, but she's semi-retired.
And even like Sue Falzone's a physical therapist, so. She's not actually, like strength and conditioning coaches. There's very few women.
Yeah, true. Good point. Yeah, I just you're kind of the leader. You're the first generation that's really busted through at that level. And that's kudos for you. That you survived all that process. It's very admirable that you're there. But I'm just wondering who you're dragging along.
Right. There's still work to be done, and I totally hear you. And I love leading our team at the gym, our team of women at the gym, and then of course team of business owners. But yeah, it's for sure another business, Sumit, that needs to be, needs to happen. There needs to be more and more women in the industry. And I've put on, like, I've tried to like start to engage women and it is hard. It's hard to get them to, to start to step into that higher level, I guess.
Yeah, Sumit, I'm just dominating here. As usual, I have to have the hands going and all that. So.
Which is cool with me. So, Rachel, I was reflecting on what you had said earlier about you started reading goal setting books. You read a lot of, heard a lot of Jim Rohn. I'm curious to know, what do you read now? But what are the Audible books that you were reading now as you were going through the Ironman training? Like, what fills your cup? What fills Rachel Cosgrove's cup today, as opposed to what it filled, several years ago? So share that with us.
Sure. So yeah, throughout the pandemic, I was reading a lot of books on leadership. The last book I read was the one on Netflix. I forget what it was called. the Netflix Culture. I don't know if you guys have read that one. Interesting book. I've done a lot of research, a lot of marketing, because I knew when this, I'm like, marketing is what I got. Like, we got to be ready to market and really differentiate ourselves and be ready to, to share that with the other business owners that we work with. So I've been studying a lot of marketing, everybody from, Dan Kennedy to, and I've been part of a mastermind group with Bill Glazier and Mara Glazier. So I've been studying a lot of marketing and marketing books, and then I read some stuff for fun too, books on happiness or books on, trying to think of what the book I just finished on my trip, but yeah, some that are just light reading that are, just thinking about, kind of putting yourself in that right frame of mind.
Perfect.
Like Atomic Habits is a great book. I, reread that that was one of the ones I reread. Yeah, I could give you a list.
Talking about happiness, that's something that caught my ear. How do you define success for yourself now at this point? You're a survivor. You built this. You're building businesses. You're showing up. All that's great, but what eventually are you chasing, I guess, is the question.
Yeah, it's a great question. Honestly, this last year, right now, it feels like I'm taking a breath. I'm like, okay, like, where are we going? Like, what's next? I wasn't expecting that, we, kind of had good things were going good. Like, gym was running itself and everything was, in place to, keep building our retirement, keep building, all of our future, and, everything was moving forward. And then all of a sudden you get swept, both of our businesses, literally rug pulled out from underneath you. You no longer have speaking engagements this year. You no longer have, you can't have a live event at your space. We pay rent at a space across the street, Sumit, you've been there, across the street from the gym where we host our live events. You're going to keep paying rent, but you can't have any live events. And you have a gym that you can't open for a year and a half. So it's, this last year was like literally feeling like the rugs were pulled out from underneath us. Now, yes, it's been a year of pivoting. Like we, immediately pivoted us and all of our business owners to an online app and got them all up and running, pivoted them to Nomly so that they could communicate with their clients, and got everything in place that we're able to now, as we are reopening, keep in place. And it's made our business a better business than it was pre-pandemic. But as far as for me, what makes me happy is I like to have freedom. I like to have freedom of my time and freedom to be able to travel, freedom to be able to, I love to do active, fun things. Like, part of why I love triathlon is because I just love the lifestyle of a triathlete. I love throwing my bike on the back of my car and heading out for a bike ride, meeting some friends and, cycling on PCH for 100 miles. Like, that's fun. Going paddleboarding, going snowboarding, that's, I want to be able to do those things. So I want to have the freedom to do those things, and then when I'm 90, and I get back from my 100-mile bike ride, and my goal is one day I'm going to do Kona, which, I'm going to qualify when I'm in my 60s or 70s, because it'll be easier to qualify then. And so that's, on my bucket list of things I want to do. But yeah, I picture myself continuing to be active, continuing to experience life. Life's I feel like, this past year, a lot of people kind of realized that life's short, and my dad we went scuba diving when we were young. He took me motorcycle riding. He took me, so to this past year really reflect on all that I've done in my lifetime has made me want to even stay in tune with that even more, as the future continues. And so, yes, I want to keep building a business. And that's where could we build a franchise? Sure. But how much time does that take? It takes time away from me doing the things that I love to do, which would be, heading out for an 8-hour bike ride or doing the things I want to do.
You're going to have to call me on the franchise idea. I would talk you out of that, but in a better way to make money with the idea. So yeah, I'll save that call for you. We're almost out of time. Let me ask you one more weird question here. Probably because I'm getting older and most of our mutual friends are getting to be guys of that certain age. I've been doing so many exit strategy calls lately with guys. Okay, I built this business. I've been a guru. I've got books. I've done this for 20, 30, 40 years. Okay, so show me what's next. Help me with what's next. And so I'm doing those calls, and we're kind of sorting through people's lives and that. But the common denominator in that is they get up one day and they go, it's enough. This has been my industry, but there's more. Even Chris Poyer was trying to talk me into doing stuff next year. And he goes, well, my brother's got this 80-year-old guy in his motorcycle group. And he says, if I didn't ride with these guys, I would die. And Chris says, that's going to be you if you don't go back and, jump back in the world. And I said, no, it's not, because I have what's next. So at some point, all these guys I'm talking to say, I got up one day and I've done it. I paid my dues. I contributed. I changed the world. I did everything I had to do, quote, in the fitness industry. Now it's time for me to explore what's next. What's beyond fitness? What is beyond fitness? You said the triathlon, being an athlete as long as you can go, something like that. What is beyond fitness for you? There's got to be something, because fitness ends. It all ends. So what is beyond? What, rider, professional athlete going into your 90s? What is next for Rachel?
Definitely there's another book in me for sure. Probably a more general life book, of life lessons of just everything.
Overdue. We all want to see that book.
I don't know. If I didn't have this last chapter, I don't know that it would be complete. That's definitely, part of, the future. I think, it's, again, I know you guys keep asking this question, but I think, Alan and I always bring ourselves back to, are we enjoying today? Creating the life today, because we know none of us are guaranteed tomorrow. And so we've never built our day around, I'm going to work really hard to have an awesome, tomorrow, if that makes sense. Instead, we go, what makes today good? Because I don't know if tomorrow's guaranteed. I mean, none of us do. And so I think for us, that's always been our, kind of MO. Now, it's right now we are going through those questions, Tom. That's, something that we are okay, at what point do we, really just dive into the, business coaching? We love business coaching. We love helping other business owners. Can we ever let go of our baby? It's our baby. And, is that something that we could ever, sell, or, and we've talked about, do we bring a partner in and have them run it? And then we can really focus on our business coaching, because we can make a bigger impact, through business coaching. And I just put a quote up on my Instagram this past week of, if you're trying to chase two rabbits, you won't catch either one. And it's absolutely like that right now, because of course, with the gym where it's at, Sumit knows, he's been deep dove into our, client database. So he knows we're half of what we were, because we were at, where we were pre-COVID, and now, we're building back up slowly, but, we got to rebuild this business if we want to keep moving forward. So, so it's the question of, do you chase that rabbit, or do you chase the rabbit, which is what we've really been focusing on this past year while our gym has been closed. And it's been a lot of fun, is helping other business owners. And we've been able to help so many business owners to navigate this last year and to get through it. And I've been on the phone and on Zoom calls with business owners every single day. And I just kind of all right, our gym's closed. This is our time to really focus on the online mentorship and, really helping other business owners to create the businesses that they want. And for sure, Tom, it's pulling us in that direction of, that's where we need to go. And it's a question of, I've asked multiple people and they give me different advice of at what point, how do you get to that point where, and one lady that I asked the question to, I think I was at a Dan Kennedy event. It's how do you know when you're at a point where you can sell your business, or and I goes, it's because I said, it's like your baby. And she goes, well, first of all, it's not your baby. And you need to stop being so emotional about it. And I was like, oh. But it is my baby. So, we don't have kids, right? So it's this is our baby. We've poured our entire life into this business. And so I think it's just, for us, it's looking at, the next step. Can we get our gym to where it's running itself and we don't have to be involved in it? Again, we know we can, because we've done it before, and we can really focus on the business coaching. Do we need to, completely, let go of the gym in order to do that? I don't know. But, that's a question that we've been definitely struggling with. How do we bring the best to what we have to offer? And I do feel like our next gift to give back to the industry is to help other business owners even on a higher level than we have been. I mean, we've been coaching business owners for 12 years now, but to fully immerse ourselves in, that's now who we are and what we do. And it's definitely an identity shift that we haven't been able to grasp yet, if that makes sense.
It does. Believe me, I understand.
Like we're personal trainers, that's who we are. So yeah, that's, but that's why we can help so many people, because we know them, we know who they are, we know their day to day, we know their passion, we get it.
I love it. It will come. There's an answer in there. That they're even aware of the question is usually about 80% of getting to the end of it. But that's something. Yeah.
Well, and
plan
I think,
your own demise.
We kind of had this vision of kind of a Nike campus, with getting the space across the street from the gym where we teach, and you got the gym running, and then, like slowly maybe we take over another, place in that same location and have our OCR gym, or, like where it's kind of all of our, and people come out and then they can see the gym running, which I know a lot of people love to come out and they love to see it in action. And, because trainers are doers, they, they love to see the actual, like, what does it look like, and so that's really where our vision is to have, kind of that Results Fitness campus where people can come out, they can work out at the gym, they can see it in the works, they can come over in the classroom, and we can, deep dive into how the behind the scenes of how it works. And so that's, kind of the future of Results and Results University. We just need to be in a state that they would let us open and have live events. So
and you forgot
there's
Alan's,
one small caveat.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting time. So Sumit, let's hit her with the final question. What do you got?
I don't have any questions. This has been great. I mean, I guess, Rachel, anything else that you want to share? I think this has been great.
I got a final. Legacy.
Oh.
Yeah, legacy. I'm just hitting yours. Legacy. So I have a theory. I was talking to Boyle, and it's like, we're talking about legacy, sitting there having, staying up too late at a Perform Better Summit, him drinking the perpetual Bud Light, and everybody else is in bed, and we're sitting here still talking about it. I was talking about legacy, and it's 2 years after you're gone, most of the books that you've written are probably out of date because you wrote them 5-6 years ago. Most of your businesses go pass on to another generation. So so what's your legacy? What do you intend to leave? And how have you touched this industry? You guys have to talk about that, because I know Alan, I've had a few cocktails with him. We've talked a little about that in the past. Legacy, what's it mean to be you? What are you leaving behind here? What would you like? If you were remembered for the thing, it's, Rachel, geez, I remember her. She was.
I mean, to be a part of changing the industry is definitely, I'm proud of how far we've come. I feel like we have made a difference from when we first started in the industry to where we are now. Seeing women, where they're at now, seeing gyms being taken, but of course this last year, I'm like, okay, we still have work to do. I would love to be a part of being seen as the professionals that we deserve to be seen as, because we've worked in this industry our entire career. And it still breaks my heart that, one, people don't last in this industry because it's not an easy industry to be in, and two, that it's not seen as the profession that it should be. So that would be something that I would love to, be known for. More, on a personal level, I mean, like I know I've lost people in my life, and it's what those people, what you mean to each person that you have a relationship with. And I think for me, it's really like working with the gym owners I've been working with, getting on Zoom calls with them, seeing them just, desperate in tears, and realizing I can help them navigate this situation like I did, back when Alan was going through cancer. I can get them through this. And now it's so cool because all the other states that are open, they're all hitting record numbers, and they're, seeing them get on the Zoom calls, hey, just reporting in, I got record numbers, and we have more clients than we've ever had. And it's, and I'm like, cool. So this last year has definitely been that's what if I can, as many people as I can help to get through a time in their life that they didn't think they were going to make it, or they were ready to quit, or they were on the brink of giving up on something where they're going to help a whole lot of people if they stay in it. That to me is, really kind of looking like it's great to be on stage and speaking to the whole room. And I know, you get people that say, oh, you know, what you said resonates with me, but like to have that one-on-one interaction with someone and literally like tell them what the next step is and walk them through step by step. Like if I can have as many people as possible that I help to do that, that would be a cool legacy.
And you're the right person for it. You're wonderful. Yeah. That's it, Suman. I'm beating her up enough. I will continue this over wine later with her and just be yelling at her for another 10, 20 years. So,
Well,
thanks, Rachel.
I look forward to it.
So how do our viewers get in touch with you if they want to learn more about Results Fitness University? I know everyone has pretty much heard about you, but if there's some people who haven't, how do they get in touch with you? What do they do? Where do they go? Share that.
Head to our resultsfitnessuniversity.com website. And first step is jumping into our inner circle. So that's $97 a month. They can jump in and we give them a new course every month and we get on a call with them every month. So that's the bottom level to get in with us and start having us as your coach. And then, as you work with us, you can jump into our mentorship, which we do 3 times a year online. We'll probably bring that back in person eventually. But right now it's online, and then eventually become one of our VIP coaching members, which we're pretty exclusive with that group because I do like to really connect and work one-on-one with those people and really know each one of them in their business. And so it's a small group of exclusive business owners who come out again 3 times a year. And I know, Sumit, you're going to be there at our next mastermind. So we have a mastermind coming up. That's kind of the different, ways you can work with us. The other thing is Alan and I are both super involved on Instagram. So if you just want to, be a part of our day-to-day lives and see what we're up to and, start to get to know us, jump on our Instagram. Mine's rachelcosgrove.co. So head over there and follow me and love to connect. Shoot me a DM.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks again, Rachel, for carving out the time. And we so had fun in this. I mean, the hour went by really, really quick.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the opportunity to share some new stories that I haven't shared. So thank you for digging it out of me.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Tom, for doing this. I appreciate it. And we'll see you again in a couple of weeks.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Bye.